You can read every tip, take every course, and memorize every riding theory in the book. But if you're not actually practicing the right things, none of it means squat. See, most riders plateau not because they stop learning, but because they stop training. They ride the same way, on the same roads, with the same habits year after year, thinking more miles equals more skill. It doesn't. If you want to ride smoother, faster, safer, and more in control, you need deliberate practice. And the best part, you don't need to hit the track or spend hours doing drills. Just 15 focused minutes at a time, even during a normal ride, can completely change how your bike feels underneath you. So today we're going to go over 12 things you can actually practice. No cones, no pressure, no parking lots required. Just you, your bike, and a little intention. Let's ride. Number 1. Trail braking into corners, safely on a curve. Most riders treat braking like flipping a switch. Either you're slowing down or you're not. But if you want to seriously sharpen your cornering, it's time to blur that line. Trail braking is the art of keeping light brake pressure into the first part of the turn, not slamming them, not panic stopping, just easing off the front brake gradually as you lean. Why? Because it lets you adjust your line mid-corner. You enter a bit hot, brake a little longer. Corner tightens up. You are already loaded on the front tire and ready to pivot. It gives you more control, not less. Now this isn't something you should practice on blind canyon hairpins with gravel and deer waiting to ruin your day. Pick an open back road with a wide curve and good visibility. Approach it normally, but instead of releasing the brake before the turn, carry a light squeeze into the corner, just enough to feel the front suspension compress slightly. Then, smoothly trail off as your lean increases. You'll feel the front tire dig in, the chassis settle, and your confidence grow. It's like unlocking a hidden level of comfort. Most importantly, when a real-world corner surprises you, trail braking keeps your options open. Number 2. Standing on the pegs, off-road or street. Now, you might think standing on your pegs is just for motocross bros or ADV guys covered in dust and GoPros. But it's way more useful than that. Learning to ride standing, even for a few seconds, gives you something most riders never develop. True control over weight transfer and surface feedback. When you're sitting, your butt's doing the sensing. When you're standing, your legs and core take over. You feel what the bike feels. Bumps, slide, weight shift, all in real time. That's gold if you ride on rough pavement, metal grates, dirt roads, or even just pothole-ridden city streets. Start by practicing the transition, from sitting to standing and back, smoothly and without yanking the bars. Then ride short, straight stretches standing up, maybe a quiet alley, a farm road, or a deserted parking lot. Focus on staying light on the bars, knees slightly bent, and your weight over the pegs, not the seat. Keep your eyes up and your arms relax. You'll quickly notice the difference. Your bike feels less like a machine and more like an extension of your body. That's not just for dirt. Makes long rides easier, helps avoid fatigue, and gives you another tool when the road gets weird. Number 3. Clutchless upshifting and downshifting. The smooth way. This one sounds like a stunt at first, but it's actually one of the smoothest, most mechanical, sympathy-friendly things you can master, if you do it right. Clutchless shifting isn't about showing off. It's about refining your timing, throttle control, and understanding how your bike behaves under load. Let's start with the upshift. You're rolling along in second. As the revs climb, you apply a tiny bit of upward pressure on the shifter. Then, just for a split second, you back off the throttle. Not a full chop, just a breath. That moment of reduced torque unloads the transmission and the gear clicks in smooth as silk. No clutch, no drama. Now, for the downshift, this is trickier. It's all about matching revs. As you roll off the throttle and apply a bit of downward pressure on the shifter, Give a quick blip to bring the revs up before the gear engages. If you mistime it, it'll feel jerky. But when you get it right, magic. Why practice this? Because it trains your hand and foot to work in perfect sync. It makes you smoother in traffic, more efficient on twisty roads, and more in tune with your bike overall. Don't force it. Just practice on empty stretches where you can feel the rhythm. You'll never shift the same again. Number 4. Identifying and adjusting body posture in real turns. You've probably heard that your body position matters in corners. But unless you ride on a racetrack with a coach yelling in your headset, chances are nobody ever taught you what the right posture feels like or how to adjust it in real time. That's where this little drill comes in. Find a stretch of road you ride often. Something with a few nice predictable curves. Nothing blind or fast. This isn't a speed run. It's a posture lab. As you enter each turn, deliberately experiment with how your body moves. Start with head placement. Are you looking into the turn far enough or just a few feet in front of you? Shift your shoulders slightly toward the inside of the curve. Drop your inside elbow a bit. Let your inside knee hover off the tank. Not flailing, just relaxed. Feel how each tweak changes the way your bike reacts. What's the point? Awareness. You're learning how posture affects balance, grip, and confidence. It's not about hanging off like Rossi. It's about subtle cues that make your ride feel planted instead of sketchy. You'll discover which position feels best for your riding style and your bike. Do this on your way home once a week. Over time, your body naturally adopts a more stable, confident posture without you thinking about it. Number 5. Downhill braking and line control. Most riders spend their time carving up twisties on level ground or uphill runs where the engine braking does half the work. But downhill, that's where things get tricky and where real control shows up. Downhill braking challenges everything you thought you knew. Gravity isn't your friend here. Your weight shifts forward faster, your front brake becomes extra sensitive, and your rear gets squirrely if you're not balanced. Which means, if you never practice this, your first real emergency on a slope might end with a locked wheel or a missed corner. Find a gradual but twisty downhill road, not steep enough to be dangerous, but enough to feel the grade. As you descend, work on smooth front braking while keeping a light rear touch to stabilize the chassis. Don't slam the brakes. Feel the front end feedback through the lever and bars. Focus on your line. Are you drifting wide? Adjust with gentle bar pressure and throttle. Don't coast. Manage your speed actively. And here's the kicker. Doing this will make you 10 times better even on flat roads. Why? Because downhill teaches you precision, modulation, and respect for grip all at once. Plus, your reaction time sharpens because everything happens faster on a decline. Most people never practice this on purpose. You'll be the guy who actually knows how to stop a bike without panic, no matter the angle. Number 6. Finding grip limits with lean angle. Low commitment practice. You don't need to drag a knee or do track days to improve your cornering. What you really need is to understand where the grip lives and how to feel it before you lose it. And that can be done safely, subtly, and without even looking like a squid. Here's how. Find a roundabout, a wide empty curve, or even a quiet on-ramp that you know like the back of your hand. Then, run laps. Start at a normal lean angle, and every lap, increase it just a hair. Not speed, just lean. Focus on feedback. What does the bike feel like through your pegs, bars, and seat? How does it react when you settle into the corner with confidence versus hesitation? The key is not to push hard, but to become aware. Your tires will tell you everything. When they're biting, when they're squirming, when they're just floating. Most riders have no idea what their tires are doing mid-corner. They lean and pray. But if you practice this little by little, you'll start to hear the rubber talk. You'll know exactly how far you can lean on your tires. And that confidence will spill into every other part of your riding, especially emergency swerves and quick transitions. It's not about scraping hard parts. It's about knowing where the edge is before you reach it. Number 7. Real-world obstacle scanning. Most people ride with their eyes kinda open. They look at the road, but they don't actually see what's coming. And in real-world riding, that kind of laziness gets you hurt. Or worse, embarrassed in front of your buddies when you hit a pothole the size of a mailbox. Here's a drill that takes 0 extra time and will make you instantly sharper. Next time you're on a normal ride, challenge yourself to name the hazards out loud, or in your head if you're shy. Pothole left, oil smear, gravel patch. Do it every few seconds. You're turning passive vision into active threat detection. Suddenly, your brain is scanning for tar snakes, manhole covers, paint lines, broken glass, diesel spills. Stuff that was invisible before becomes part of your survival instinct. And the best part, you're training your eyes and brain to work together faster. So by the time you actually need to react, the info's already there. This is one of those habits that separates riders who just coast along from riders who actually control their environment. You can practice it anywhere, anytime. Costs nothing, takes no setup, and after a week, it'll change how you look at every road you ride. Want to avoid surprise slides and squirrel-induced panic stops? Start seeing everything before it happens. Number 8. Mid-corner line correction with throttle and pressure. Every rider has that oh crap moment when they realize mid-turn that they're drifting wide, or worse, headed toward a pothole or that lovely patch of gravel. Most people freeze, chop the throttle, or stand the bike up, all of which make the problem worse. This is where line correction comes in, and it's something you can and should practice intentionally. Next time you're on a familiar twisty road, set yourself up with a slightly off line on purpose, safely of course. Now, instead of panicking, try 2 tools: gentle handlebar pressure and controlled throttle input. A tiny bit more pressure on the inside bar, just enough to guide the bike tighter. At the same time, smoothly roll on a little throttle, not a twist, just enough to settle the chassis and bring the bike in line. If done right, the bike tightens its arc without drama. No sudden movements, no death grip, no standing up mid-corner. This isn't just for twisty roads either. You can use the same principle in roundabouts, exit ramps, or even wide urban corners. The goal is to build confidence in your ability to adjust while leaned over without freaking out. Once this skill becomes second nature, you stop fearing corners. You start owning them. That's when you really feel in control of the machine, not riding it like a passenger, but steering it like a pro. Number 9. Smooth throttle pickup mid-turn. You can have perfect body posture, a great line, and a textbook lean angle. But if you mess up the throttle when it's time to accelerate out of a corner, the whole thing falls apart. Jerky throttle input mid-turn is one of the fastest ways to unsettle the chassis and kill your confidence. What you want is that perfect moment of a smooth pickup. Not a lurch, not a delay, just a gentle roll-on right as the bike finishes rotating and starts to stand up. That's where grip is strongest and stability returns. But unless you practice it deliberately, most riders either roll on too soon or wait too long. And the result is a weird wobble, a wide exit, or even a low side on cold tires. The drill? Find a nice, safe corner, ideally a wide sweeper or familiar roundabout, and practice the transition from coasting or light brake into throttle. Focus on timing. Feel the weight shift. Your goal is to destabilize the rear suspension and maintain smooth drive throughout the turn. It's not about going faster, it's about feeling connected. Once you get it right, it's addictive. The bike feels planted, smooth and fast without even trying. It builds trust between you and the machine, and that's what makes you ride better without riding harder. If you ever felt like your bike squirms out of corners, this is the cure. Number 10. Manual counterweighting at low speed with real obstacle. Everyone thinks they've mastered low-speed control until they try weaving a 600-pound cruiser through real-world clutter without using their legs like training wheels. Parking lot drills are nice, but life throws you curbs, dumpsters, weirdly parked cars, and surprise potholes. That's where counterweighting really earns its keep. The idea is simple. At low speeds, when you're making tight turns, your body should lean opposite the bike to keep it balanced. That's counterweighting. But most riders never practice this outside of cone drills. So when they face a tight U-turn on a steep incline with a wall on one side, they panic and dab their foot down like it's a safety net. Practice it like this. Pick a real neighborhood or alley with awkward angles and obstacles. Use mailboxes, curbs, or trash cans as imaginary cones. Ride around them slowly, deliberately exaggerating your body lean away from the bike. Keep your clutch in the friction zone and drag the rear brake slightly for control. The goal is to build real confidence, not just in a parking lot, but in the places you actually ride. Learn how to steer with your hips, stabilize your throttle, and turn your entire torso to look where you want to go. These habits will save you when space gets tight. And let's be honest, nailing a low-speed turn in public without putting a foot down, that feels better than most speed runs. Number 11. Riding throttle only for fine control. If you really want to understand your bike, try riding it with just the throttle. No clutch slipping, no brake tapping, just your right hand and the engine's natural rhythm. It's harder than it sounds, and it'll teach you more about smoothness and control than 100 YouTube tutorials. Find a quiet stretch of road, ideally with a few gentle curves or elevation changes. The goal isn't speed, it's feel. Keep your hands off the brakes and don't touch the clutch once you're moving. Use only your throttle to modulate speed and control your roll. You'll notice immediately if you've been riding too jerky without realizing it. This practice forces you to pay attention to engine braking, weight transfer, and throttle input. You'll start anticipating how the bike slows down on its own and where you need to gently roll on to stay balanced. That anticipation builds finesse. Why does this matter? Because when you ride in traffic, or in the rain, or around pedestrians, that finesse makes you safer. No more abrupt stops or awkward lunges forward. You'll glide through situations with precision and flow, and that's what separates decent riders from great ones. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, but throttle-only drills teach you to be one with your bike, and that's the entire point. Number 12. Practicing escape routes at red lights. Most riders treat red lights as rest stops, but for smart riders, they're mini war games. If a distracted driver barrels up behind you, what's your move? Waiting and hoping isn't a plan. Practicing escape routes is. Every time you pull up to a red light, take 5 seconds to scan your surroundings. Is there a gap between cars? A shoulder to bolt onto? A driveway or crosswalk you could shoot through if someone doesn't stop? Make it a habit. Don't just sit between bumpers like a target. Angle your bike slightly to one side with an open path in mind. You don't have to actually escape, of course, but visualizing it every single time builds a mental reflex. It trains your eyes to look for space, not just danger. And, in a panic moment, your brain won't freeze. It'll already know where to go. Bonus points if you practice executing that escape slowly when no one's around. Ease into the shoulder, roll into the gap. Feel how the bars respond under pressure. It's not paranoia, it's insurance. Being a great rider isn't just about lean angle or speed. It's about preparation. Red lights are where cars check out. That's where you stay sharp. You don't need a racetrack, a coach, or a week-long course to become a better rider. All it takes is 15 minutes here and there. Intentional, focused practice in real-world settings. Whether it's refining your throttle control, adjusting your line mid-corner, or just prepping for a red light disaster, every one of these drills adds up. And the best part, you'll start to feel the difference. Your bike won't feel like a machine. It'll feel like an extension of you. So the next time you're out riding, Don't just log miles. Challenge yourself. Try one drill per ride. You'll be amazed at how quickly your confidence, control, and awareness improve. Which one are you going to try first? Or do you have your own favorite riding drill you swear by? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear what you practice out there. Stay sharp, stay smooth, and keep riding like you mean it.